All right, April 9th. Good to be here with you guys. Let's go. That's it. There you go. That's the original right there.
Celebrate living.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate misery.
Gotta get up. If they throwing lemons at you,
let's have some fun while we all die.
Make lemon candy, bruh.
Celebrate dark days. Celebrate.
All right, there we are, man. That's Spencer Jacob Growl Band, and that is Celebrate. Thank you very much. We have Nick will be back with us in studio. He's just kicking us off, and he's checking out now. So he'll be back in a little bit. I want to thank you guys for being here with me on this past weekend. It is April 9th. It's April 9th. Oh, man. What's going on? I just got back from Tampa. And I don't know if you ever been to Tampa, but Tampa is the kind of place where, first of all, it's a bunch of people that wanted to be pirates, I think, and then pirating went out of business. So suddenly, you got a lot of people that suddenly just straight up landlocked. And the zoning is insane. You will have you'll have a place where you get dental, and then next door, strip club. But strip club will also have, maybe they'll do, all beef patties out the back. So everything is possible. And that's one thing I really enjoyed about it. You get a used car and prosthetic limb, same place, because the zoning is just, I don't know who did the zoning. I don't know who did the commercial residential zoning. You'll have 6 homeless people legally living right in a supermarket. And they trying to, they out there in the frozen foods and they all wearing, parkas and shit. And you trying to get some fish, you just trying to get some fish sticks or, them breaded chicken fillets. And they are trying to hit you up for $1. You open that frozen food section and ba-bam. Soily Ronnie pops out. Soily Ronnie pops out with that dirty hand and he's trying to catch that buck off you. And all you trying to get is a bag of those frozen carp hitters. Or frozen bass pieces or whatever they're serving, fish sticks. But yeah, man, they got that wild zoning. You get used car and prosthetic limb. So you got a Ford Fiesta with fucking new kneecaps in the back. And that's Tampa. Anything's possible in Tampa. It's like that, and they have crime, but they don't, it's kind of everywhere a little bit. And I like a city that have some crime. Because when a city has crime, what's better? The food. I'll tell you that. Even a peanut butter and jelly sandwich down there in New Orleans tastes better because somebody's getting popped off 2 or 3 blocks away. So your taste buds, they know that this is life or death situation. They know that even if you just got a bowl of gazpacho, that this shit could be your last meal. So your taste buds, they show up. They tuxedo up to the top of your tongue and they're ready to really embrace whatever's going on. If you're eating somewhere, you're eating down there in Boca Raton or you're eating over in damn, some other city or something, some fancy place. You're eating over in Los Angeles or you're eating over in, where's another place that's fancy? Oh, Martha's Vineyard. Then you could probably barely even taste. You're not alive. But somebody give you a kettle full of gazpacho in South Chicago. That's life or death dining. Food tastes better in cities where the crime rate is higher. And I'll say that to the end of time. Because there's just something, it's just something about, when somebody's just around the corner trying to set you off with a knife, it just, it adds a little bit more mystique to a pork chop. It really does. And look, I grew up in that environment where, when that danger's outside, boy, everything tastes good. Because that might be your last grip. That might be your throat and your belly's last grip at sustenance. And I feel like you get a little bit of that in Tampa. You get that danger. There's cannons. People have fucking cannons there. I'm not talking cameras. You'll see a couple homeless dudes or a couple dudes who have homes but don't mind looking homeless, and they shining up a cannonball at a gas station. It's like, bitch, it's 2018, and you out there polishing sea balls at a fucking sit-go. What's going on? But that's that pirating lifestyle. It's a little bit in the bloodstream over there in Tampa. In Tampa, you find a lot of women talking on their cell phone crossing the street with no shoes on. Apparently, you don't have to have shoes in Tampa. That's alternate. That's optional. Shoes optional. Some places that they say, no shirt, no shoes, no shoes, no service. Well, Tampa doesn't say that. Tampa, it's just like service. Because 6 out of 11 people aren't going to have shirt and shoes. Dude, I got to the airport, and I'll say this, man. The airport, the new worst airport in America, Tampa International Airport. Dude, this fucking thing, it took 25 minutes to get to the rental car place, and I was cruising. I didn't have to wait in line. It's just you got to go up these escalators, down these escalators. You got to take a tram. You got to take another tram. A lot of senior citizens, mark my words, a lot of senior citizens going to die at TPA, Tampa International Airport, because they're not thinking about humans. I mean, if you want to drop off a rental car, bitch, and you're leaving on Friday, you better show up on Thursday morning, or you will not get to you won't get to your gate. Shit was dangerous, man. It was real. It got real Game of Thronesy over there around the TSA area. But, I'm complaining. Look, I'm not complaining. I'm celebrating the city. I had some barbecue, and that was pretty good. What else did I see over there? I saw some big old, they got them cancer tits out there in Tampa. You get a lot of sunburnt breast meat. So they got them straight up fucking cancer front bags out there. You see them, some girl rocking them D cups, but 2/3 of the cup is probably melanoma. And you see them rocking that. And I'm not condoning breast cancer. I'm not wishing upon that on anybody, even anybody that don't have breasts. But you'll see ladies out there, damn boy, they're wearing shoes that match with their burn up chest skin. Lady look like in the chest, sometime right between them tits, they look like, some of these ladies look a little bit like, have you ever had a thing of French onion soup? And then it gets kind of, if you let it sit for too long, that thing gets on the top, that little bit of layer of, it just gets a little bit too French on the top. And it gets this little film, like that little layer of, soup epidermis. Just like that, but put it right between on a lady's chest. And throw a Winston in her jaw. Throw a big Winston up in Judy's jaw. So she huffing on a Winston, running with that French onion fucking tit front. No shoes. Does have a shirt. Definite service. Strip clubs, tacos, diversity. That's Tampa. It's a pirate's life for me. And we had the shows at a place called The Attic over there in Ybor City. And if you haven't been to Ybor City, it's wild, man. It's cool. It's like has like this gay thug. It's like has a mix, It's real thug, but then a lot of gay men and homoerotic people moved in and, started making it fancy. So you have both sides of it. I remember the first time I was in Tampa years ago, this dude ran up on me and he had a blade or something, put it right into my side. He's like, give me all your money and let me hold your dick for a second. And I'm like, damn, this is some new kind of crime. that homoerotic robbery. So eventually, bro, I just fucking ended up, honestly, dude jerked off into a couple of bucks and gave him that. Because I didn't want to get any deeper into the well. Sometimes if somebody asks you for the money, you give them the money. Because you know what you got after that, you got the rest of your life. And I had a good time over in Tampa, dude. I had a good time over there in Tampa. I want to thank the Attic at Rock Brothers. Man, I want to thank everybody that came out. You know, we sold out the shows. We had 3 shows over there and we sold them out. And I flew over there, and I saw Sean Wayans. He was working at the Improv down the street. And he's always a little bit snooty, but he kind of said some nice stuff, and we showed up over there at Rock Brothers in the Attic. If you're thinking about doing a show, you're a comedian, and you want to do something or event in Tampa, man, it's a beautiful little locale. So Beach Bums, they had a volleyball group that came out. My boy Dom Nelson, and I met him years ago. We were both doing judging children's pageants. And it was a really kind of a weird time for me. I got caught up with this group that was, judging children's pageants, judging beautiful children up in Minnesota. And look, I'm not like that. I'm not that dude, man. When I see a kid, I think all children are mostly beautiful. Sometimes you get them kids that are too, sometimes if a kid was born too early and they ain't got they don't have a full chin, or it's just like a neck that just comes up and then makes a U-turn and then just goes back into their body, then I'm not going to, honestly, I'm not going to give that child probably a 10 out of 10 if we're, doing judging them, or if but this was a pageant for Miss Teen USA, and I met my buddy Dom up there. Well, he ended up down in Tampa, and they run a thing called Beach Bums Volleyball. And I went out there with them, and it was awesome. And I don't do a lot of sand, stuff on the sand. In Louisiana, if you go to the beach, you're going to get fucking eaten by something, or you're going to get malaria. A lot of people come back from the beach with different diseases when I grew up. MRSA, malaria. People get attacked by fucking sand mites. They had a buddy of mine had a fucking sand mite dug into his rib cage when he was about 7 or 8 and lived in there till he was about probably 18. And I think it actually, when I think about it, this boy Darren, the thing came out of his body on his 18th birthday. And if that ain't the Lord working, dude, I don't know what is. But when you've had a little mite living inside of you, and you that fucking insect kennel, you growing up your whole life being an insect kennel, and then bam, your 18th birthday, you ready for new adventures in the world? And today, that dirty little sand mammal, that mite comes burrowing out between your ribs and says, look, man, I'm going to let you go on, and I'm going to go my way. And thank you for the ride. And that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. We got a great show for you here today, I think. We're going to try something a little different. I'm going to keep talking about some things. I got some things I want to talk about. But we're going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to have, Nick, who is the producer. One of the producers, we got Nick and Chris. And Chris is learning some of the ropes, so we're figuring things out. But Nick is going to come in the second half of the show and help with the news and help with some calls. We had a lot of great calls. Now, some people don't know about the Hotline Man. The hotline is a thing you can use. Anybody out there. And if you have something going on in your life, man, if you're struggling, you feeling something. If you out in the streets, or you in love, or you're feeling, if you got a feeling, then you bring that feeling to the table and you put it into the voice box on the hotline. You hit that voicemail, and that number's 985-664-9503. And everybody's welcome to call that thing. If you have, just something you want to get off your chest, something you want to share, something that we can circulate out to others and maybe get some response or feedback for you for suggestions from the rest of our listeners. That's an open, that thing's gender fluid. That thing is, you could be anybody. You could be a tall, lemur and be able to communicate well, as long as you can hit that hotline 985-664-9503, then we can share some thoughts and ideas together. Man, we had so many great people came out in Tampa, dude. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. People coming up and sharing stories. People bringing their spouses out. You know, it was really inspiring. I was exhausted when I got home because I was there at the club till 1 last night. I caught a 6 a.m. flight. But it was, I would have been much more tired if I hadn't been filled up in my spirit with a lot of positive vibes and positive energy. And we made the most of it over there. So thank you very much, everybody in Tampa that came out. What else? We had that Conor McGregor. He hit up that Greyhound station, and a lot of people, I put a video on Instagrams, and people were excited about it and commenting and this and that, and people saying this about Greyhound and this about Greyhound, and saying, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Some people. Well, guess what? I have gone Greyhound. While some of you guys were in the Cub Scouts or the Boy Scouts, and y'all were in the woods, making fucking, little dog cages out of vines and, little damn bamboo mailboxes and shit. Your boy right here was on that Greyhound. And I used to take that thing up to Natchez, Mississippi and work on my buddy's farm. And look, if people upset Conor McGregor threw a hand truck at a bus window and broke it out. Well, guess what, man? I've thought about it. That shit happens on Greyhound. If you know what happens on Greyhound? Pregnancies, menthol, no outlets, urine, that Nile, bro. If you've been on that all night trip, the bus driver first time he dozes off, he slams on the brakes when he wakes up because he's about to hit something. And that big slam, that's when that toilet does that splash and it breaches its bounds. And next thing you know, that Nile, that Greyhound Nile, bruh. Everybody's problems. It might have a needle in it. It might have a little bitty abortion in it. That thing comes, and I know that's gross, but that's the fucking hound, boy. That is the hound. That is the sewer. It's what we are, really. It's that gutter right under us. And that's that hound. And that thing comes rolling right down the aisle, and you better have your bags and your legs clear. Man, you'll catch a disease out of that thing. You'll wake up with pink eye in your butthole. That's that's what you can get on the hound. And things happen on there. So, and I want to say this, if you have a Greyhound buster, I want to do a full Greyhound episode. Because I'm sick of people thinking that everything's safe on the hound. Because I'll be honest, I troll. I troll the Greyhound Bus Help Twitter feed. And I'm on there, and, I'll troll them at night and find people that's saying, excuse me, Mr. Sherman took us 2 hours off the route to go visit his ex, to go visit a lady he met out there in Tupelo. Well, guess what, motherfucker? That's the hound. You think shit ain't going to happen on Greyhound? What do you think? You think you're in Italy? Things aren't real French on Greyhound. Things aren't real French. Things are a little bit more Amsterdam, a little bit more Haiti. A little bit more Kingston. You're not getting French on Greyhound. Nobody's fucking with champagne. Nobody can spell champagne. Greyhound is where things go off. You could catch a fucking gram. Greyhound is where, sometimes the driver pull over, fucking leave y'all. Because he got to make a court date. And that's the kind of shit that happens. So if you have a Greyhound story, because so many of them came in on my Instagram feed and on my Facebook feed, I'm going to put together a full Greyhound episode. So if you have a Greyhound story that happened to you, I want you to hit the hotline. I'm going to do the biggest, baddest G-Hound breakdown that's ever hit America. And not to mention the only one. Because I've been on Greyhound, man. Nobody took me to here and dropped me off there. I took Hound. Okay, I've had a dude come up to me on Greyhound and say, look, but he's like, look, man, He goes, look, man, I'm going to blow you or I'm going to suck your dick. And I was like, dude, that's the same thing, bruh. And you're an idiot. And no. Because I've been on there, man. I've seen a dude get on there just fresh out of prison, buy 2 grams of cocaine on the bus, and by the next stop get arrested and taken back to prison. Dude was out of jail. He'd been in jail, I think, for about 11 years, and he was out of jail for about 28 minutes until we hit near Vicksburg, and then that man went back. And that's the hound, baby. You buy a wig, you buy a stepchild, you buy whatever you want. So hit the hotline if you got a Greyhound story, 985-664-9503. And this past weekend is going to put together the baddest, biggest Greyhound episode ever. I'm going to try to get a former driver in here if we can and see what's what. But thank y'all for going hound. And you can find some of my tweets on Twitter, hashtag thanks for going, GOIN, hound. And you can see that I've been following hound. But people expecting people ain't going to get pissed off at a Greyhound station. Everybody's pissed. Go to a Greyhound station right now. I'll tell you 9 things you'll see. You will see adult men trying to breastfeed each other. You'll see somebody drinking a can of Similac, a lady, and she's fighting with somebody on the phone. You will see somebody cleaning jelly off of some barrettes. 100% you'll see that, bro. You will also see somebody, if you go outside of the Greyhound, look across the street, you'll see somebody probably lying dead out in front of a building. If you go to Greyhound right now, you go in the bathroom, you will see that somebody has changed the locks and is probably living in there. If you go to Greyhound right now, you will see that the people at the front desk don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. They don't want to be there. They don't give a shit. And you will see them talk shit to you no matter what. If you go to Greyhound, you will see a lot of people that have just gotten out of prison or that have a newborn. And those are the things you'll see, man. So check it out, man. We're going to do that Greyhound episode. That's going to be coming up. What else is on my mind? Oh, I went to see that movie, Sherlock Gnomes. Because, I'm a pun guy. I like a pun. A pun will get me in anything. If a girl writes a little bit of a pun on her leg, a cute pun right next to that vagine, I might be down there reading that thing and then bam, bro. She swings those hips. And next thing you know, I'm on that low lip lock with that little, with that little freaking sweat wallet that they running. That sweet pocket, bruh. That shorty output. And I love puns. So that's what got me, man, right there on that pun front. What the fuck was I talking about? I love puns, man. Oh, I saw one this weekend called Dough Nation, DOUGH Nation, NATION, and they had all kinds of cookie dough, and that was in Tampa. So that's the kind of shit you see in Tampa. Dough Nation, right? Right next door to Dough Nation, you'll see, you'll see like a place where you could give blood. So you're like, it's hard to fucking sit out there and enjoy your sugary treat when people's dropping blood right next door. Oh, I'll tell you what else I saw in Tampa. If you haven't been to this place in Tampa, it's called The Castle. It's called The Castle. And it's downtown. It's in an old church. And it's a bar. And the vibe in there is homoerotic and vampires. So, dude, you fucking... And if you think I'm joking, go there. It feels like Halloween, man. It was amazing. You could be yourself. They have people that have never seen sunlight in there. One guy, his friends brought a casket in on a hand truck on a dolly, dropped that motherfucker off, boy. 9 minutes into the club, that door opened, he paid his $5 cover charge, and this dude who had never seen the light of day was out in there, twerking and fucking showing his work. But man, they got real vampires in there. You'll be talking to somebody and get a hint of fucking A negative off their breath. Like, damn, you're like, has everybody been eating rare pork chops? Did everybody order the lamb? No, people out there drinking blood. But then when you see a lot of these men in there that are wild, and you see dudes, the bathrooms are all gender neutral because everybody's in costume. Everybody in there looks like Marilyn Manson, but with, a little bit, kind of a bunch of chubby Marilyn Mansons. And it's awesome, though. If you want to go there, they got a cage where people are whipping people with a whip. People in there whipping people and, and people got a lot of robust people in there. So everybody you can grab anything and everything feel like a titty. And that's something I love about, skinny people. You hug a skinny person, you feel like you doing research. You feel like, oh, what is that? That's a hip. That's a coccyx. What is that? But you hug thick Nick, and next thing you know, you're like, damn, everything feel like a titty. And that's one thing I like about people that's a little bit more Rubenesque. I grew up with our main food source was General Mills and different cereals and different flavors of cereals. But a lot of people, if you grew up on that meat or potato diet, then you might have a little bit more titty on you. Because sometimes people think just a titty is a titty. But I don't believe that. And I wish somebody made nipples that you could, hook onto your skin in other places. Because I'll find a new titty on somebody. And you think I won't? I'll find a new titty. Gang. But yeah, man, that was awesome. What was I talking about? A pun, man. It was something I was going to say to you guys. Oh, and I forgot about it. But yeah, man, I had a great time down there in Tampa, dude. I went and saw Sherlock Gnomes. And I didn't like it that much. They did all this cartooning, not a lot of jokes. I think they came up a little bit short. So I give Sherlock Gnomes, I would say 2 out of 7 stars. Even for children, I think it was boring. I think even kids, all that drawing, all that artwork, nothing super funny. They had like one funny thing that they kept doing over and over again. And that's a gnome on a toilet. And I've never known any gnomes. I have a friend I got a comedian friend, my boy Nick, that's he's smaller. I don't know if he's really a little person or what all the classification is. But I've never known a real gnome. I've never known a midget that did magic. Or I guess they're from Ireland or something. I'm not sure. I got to look at some of the, some of the fine print on them. But they had this dude in my town when I was growing up. And this boy, his name was Tracy. And sometimes boys get girls' names because the parents don't look at their crotch right in the, when it's born because they just met. And I respect parents that do that. You just meeting your child and the first thing you do is look at their crotch. To me, that's kind of fucked up. Because also, there's a lot more to a baby than just, what they're working with. And they had this boy in our town named Tracy. So they might have named him before before they got that peak. Before they started perving out on their own baby for a second in the delivery room. But they also might have just liked that name because also Dick Tracy was popular. And even if you love Dick Tracy, he was a famous detective. And if you love Dick Tracy, naming your kid Dick seems insane. A lot of people I meet, they have a family member named Dick, and I'm like, oh, that's absolutely fucking nuts. You're gonna name somebody Dick? That's like, this is my sister right here, Vulva. You know what I'm saying? This is my fucking shorty right here, Areola, my mixed girlfriend. You can't name somebody Dick. And people that are named Dick, it's not even like a joke to them. They're like, oh, that's a regular name, Dick. Nah, bruh. That's a dick, man. You can't be named after that. You can't you can't have a fucking friend come over named Pussy, bruh. Oh yeah, this Darren, this Tim, Pussy, and Alan. No. See how that works? It doesn't. So if people's name Dick, you got to do something about that, man. because it's alarming to other people. But at the time, they had a famous investigator named Dick Tracy. And he was an famous investigator, and he was beaten. This is when they had a lot of crazy people in New York that had wild nicknames like Knuckles and, Flavonoid and all kind of, Butters, McGillicuddy, and, Larry the Surgeon or whatever. And this dude would cut off his own thumbs and like sew them back onto the other fingers and shit like that. They had real killers out there. And Dick Tracy was the famous investigator. He would hunt them. He would hunt these killers down. But they had this boy in our town named Little Tracy. And he was small, man. And he would hide in your shit. If you was going on vacation, Little Tracy would fucking hide in your car. He'd hide in your mother's purse if your mom had one of them fucking big purses, If she was going through some shit. Or if she, kept a lot of lunch on her. Because a lot of women where I'm from, they keep a lot of lunch on them. I grew up in that lunch belt where if you see somebody, and it's between breakfast and dinner, a lot of times they're not going to eat anywhere at lunch. They got lunch on them. So you could frisk a motherfucker and find, half a P&J and a couple grams of that cane, you feel me? But anyhow, if you're on YouTube too, the power just went out. Oh, there we go. Power's back on. But anyhow, man, that was it, man. That's what was going on. We had a good time down there. Went to that castle, saw some vamps. A lot of great people came out. And yeah, man, they had that dude when I was growing up. Kind of wild. What other story can I tell you guys? I do want to tell you about some dates coming up. And those dates are, I will be... What's good that's coming up? I'll be at Clusterfest in San Francisco, June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And I don't know what that vibe is going to be like. I don't know if it's indoors or outdoors. So, just recognize if you come to see me at that, it's a big thing. It's probably going to be fun, but it's like a big event. I'll be out there at Cherokee Casino, June 9th, and that is in Oklahoma. And people are asking me, well, it's not on the website. Well, ask them because I don't know. I wish they would put it on there. I'll be at Yuck Yucks in Calgary. And that's June 15th and 16th. And I'll be at Timber Brewing Company in Bakersfield. And I know Brendan Schaub from Fighter and the Kid was just there this weekend. But I'll be there coming up soon. Also, I got the Dark Arts Tour. We're going to be popping off some new dates for you guys. I'll announce them next week because I'm waiting to get the website finished. And get some logo which put together. This dude on this website, man, I mean, we trying. All right, man, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get Nick in. I want to thank Gray Block Pizza. And Gray Block Pizza, man, they got everything. If you think about this. Think about you wake up and you want some black olives, right? And maybe you want that pepperoni. Maybe you want that dirty lawn meat. Because pepperoni could have anything in it. Think about it. Pepperoni might have that, might have a little bit of thyme, some oregano, might have a little bit of pork or chicken. It might have a fucking hit of bubble gum on the back. It might have that aftertaste, that bubblegum aftertaste. But that's pepperoni. Anything could be in that shit. So sometimes you want that. You want that free buffet. You want them free little buffet medallions. And that's pepperoni. You want that black olives. You want pepperoni. You want cheese. Because you ain't no creep. You want real cheese. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody to just spray a cow and a little bit of salt into your fucking throat at the same time. And that's what you get at Gray Block Pizza. You get those mixes. They got all kinds of fancy pizza. The Bella Goat. I think they got the Dr. Zhivago. I'm making some of those up. Because I don't see my menu isn't here right at the moment. But they got everything. Gray Block Pizza, 1811 Pico Boulevard. Get that hitter. All right, man, I'll be right back with Nick in the studio. We're going to do news. We're going to go to some calls. What did I have? Oh, dude, I had a dream about Kevin Bacon. Speaking of pepperoni, I had a dream about Kevin Bacon, bro. And I was thinking about this. So Kevin Bacon, okay, first of all, named Bacon. Can you imagine growing up with the name Bacon as your last name and thinking that you have a chance to make it in Hollywood? Like his journey had to be harder than anybody's. Think who else you know? You know what I'm saying? Where, like, say your name's Susan Carne Asada. Bitch, you ain't gonna be in MacGyver, you know? You ain't gonna be in Dunkirk, probably. If your name is Larry Pollo con Loco. Bruh, Larry Crazy Chicken, you're not gonna get it. Can you imagine saying my last name is a meat and I'm still gonna take life to the next level and that challenge? I mean, you don't see that. You don't see that. You know, can you even imagine? Can you even imagine that? I can't. What if your name's Debbie Pork? What if your name is or fucking Sergio Veal medallions? Motherfucker, you lucky to work at the bank. But Kevin Bacon said, "No, I got this." You know, what if your name is fucking Dorothy Pork Chop? Could you imagine? What would you probably stay at home? I wouldn't be brave enough to go out there with a meat name and take that meat to the next level. He's brave, man. Maybe you work at a kennel. You know? What if your name is, Randy Beef Jerky? Motherfucker, you lucky to work at a Chevron. Maybe in your later years you get some junior associate work at a kennel or at a garage. But you ain't the odds of you making it? Come on, man. You can't do that, dude. To be in the front lines and be a meat. Say, man, my name's Kevin Bacon. And then overcome the odds? Gang, bruh. And he gets that. He gets that gang, man. I'll honor that man till the day I'm dead. Because if I had a meat name, if my name was, Rafael Chicharrones, or if my name was Willie Shrimp, motherfucker, I'd probably be working by the YMCA, volunteering. We'll be right back with the news and with some of you guys' calls. And for the first time with our producer that's going to be working here in the second half of the show. He's not in here the first half. That's us. That's our time. And I want to thank everybody that came out, man. People came out. And I know, look, the club sold VIP meet and greet tickets. I didn't do that. I want to let you guys know. The club did that. That's just the way their ticket program is set up. So I like to meet everybody at the end of the shows. So if you left early and you thought I didn't get to meet you, that wasn't on me. Because then we had to do something special for the meet and greet people because they paid extra. But I'm not doing that shit. So in the future, man, we'll meet everybody. And I'll be out there and come enjoy yourselves. And so if you felt like, if you felt slighted by that, I'm sorry. I didn't set that up. They did all the ticketing. And that was just how their system was. But if you felt slighted, let me know. And I'll make it up to you when I come back around. I promise you that. We'll be right back in literally 5 seconds.
Are we going to do voicemails or news first?
That's the voice of Nick Davis right there. And Nick, where are you from, Nick?
I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah. Midwest, and spent 8 years in Minneapolis.
And worked for what? Not crime.
Nope. Went to school there, and
okay.
Then worked there for a while, and then migrated out west.
What brought you out west, man? What was that?
I just love the comedy scene, podcasting. I feel like it's a really growing medium, and there's a ton of opportunity here. And people like you, Carolla, Rogan, have grown independent projects, and I think there's a ton of opportunity with that, and just want to be a part of it. And
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I met Nick at Carolla, and we did some work in the past, and then he's come in as a lifesaver and gotten us, to the point where we can have guests and helping us with all the technical side of things. And man, I really can't thank you enough, man.
Oh, no problem. It's been a blast, especially seeing your podcast grow, and now you're having guests in, Jay Moore, Tate Fletcher. Excited to see who you're going to have next.
Yeah, me too, man. I know Bobby Lee said he wanted to come in, but I also want to be able to get they had this Uber driver that used to be on some dust, I know, that I met recently. So I think I want to try to, see, what that's like. I I guess part of my fear is just that, I guess it's not a fear, but I guess that the listeners will, I guess, think that kind of shit isn't cool,
I think they could hear you talk to anyone. I mean, just like the guy who you met at the DMV come in, he doesn't have much of a Twitter following, but I think people really enjoyed the interview.
Dude, at the DMV that day, man, he had about 6 followers. Literally, when I met that dude, Uneven Steven, nobody was more popular at the DMV that day. But I think when he ended up coming into the first time we ever had a guest, not here, but that he was on some dust or he wasn't doing well. And he might have passed, man. He hasn't responded to a text in probably about 3 months.
Well, I hope he's all right. Yeah,
we'll see, man, or I hope he's in heaven. Sometimes, being out here ain't for everybody. But yeah, we got some calls, and we got, I'm going to see Cock Blockers tonight. So, I got to take a little date to the C Blockers. And so I'm going to go do that. And 2 of my friends actually wrote that film. And it's been edited a ton since they sold it, but they wrote it. My friends Jem and Brian Kehoe, and I couldn't be more proud to know them. And we're trying to work on a project together now to go out and sell, and based on my neighborhood that I grew up in. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
It's pretty cool, man. So keep your fingers crossed and keep us in your good spirit vibes. All right, man. Let's crack into some stuff. Nick, what did I miss while I was out of town?
There's a lot of news. Let's see. In Tempe, mom was arrested after police say her child ate mac and cheese made with THC butter.
Okay.
Lena Marie Limpert, 25, was booked on 1 count of child abuse. Mm-hmm. The Department of Child Safety was notified by someone in Limpert's home that her almost 2-year-old daughter had ingested THC butter while eating macaroni and cheese with her father.
Come on.
During that time, neither parent took the child to immediate emergency care and even joked about the effects it was having on the child, and later put her in the pool to shock her out of the high.
Damn. Well, I don't know who wrote the thing, and that's okay. Obviously, you can't be giving the children drugs, and that is also something you'll see on Greyhound sometimes. But you cannot be giving the children drugs, you can't do it. Because here's the thing. It's obvious whatever neighborhood that kid is in, they're probably going to find drugs eventually. So you can't start them off that early by giving them drugs. And it's not fair to hide a drug in something that to a kid is already a drug. Macaroni and cheese is a fucking drug.
I was thinking the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Those carbs.
Dude, when you're a kid, dude, macaroni and cheese, you see that bright yellow? You see somebody else that spoon comes out of that pot and that big heap and just mound of hot, gooey, just funk is sitting on that fucking spoon and it hits that bowl. That's opium to a maybe not to a 2-year-old, but to a 3, 4, 5-year-old. That's opioids. That's that Suboxone. That's everything. That's that cheesy heroin. So you get that, man, as a child. So it's wrong, These people out there doing that kind of stuff with the kids. Now, I understand holding the child in the pool, maybe after thinking that they're going to be able to, help the kid out. And I don't know how tough the 2-year-old is. If the 2-year-old's already been fucking, no, I think a 2-year-old can't be partying or doing anything like that where they're going to have built up any tolerance to this kind of stuff.
Hopefully not. Not.
So I think that's unfortunate, man. What else we got?
Let's see. I know you mentioned a little bit about Conor's antics throwing a hand truck through a bus at Barclays Center.
Yep.
As a result, Conor McGregor was charged with 3 counts of criminal mischief, 2 counts of assault, 1 count of attempted assault, and 5 counts of menacing, and 1 count of reckless endangerment. He's currently out on $50,000 bond and is back in Ireland awaiting his June court date. However, Khabib Nurmagomedov did end up winning the undisputed 155-pound title, and these antics only heightened their potential matchup later this year.
And it makes you wonder, man. Conor is... he walks to the beat of his own drum. You think that?
Definitely. I think he's gotten to such a point of success. he literally feels invincible. Like he can do anything he wants, and he's acting as such.
Did you feel like it was my first thought was, is this an ego thing? Like, is he feeling left out? Because, that was a crescendo of media attention with him in the Mayweather fight. And then it's really... you can't stay at that level forever. And that's a drug. And so did you think that was it, or did you think something else happened and that's what set him off?
I definitely think it was retaliation because Khabib's team had cornered and confronted his teammate and friend Artem Lobov earlier in the week at Barclays. So it was retaliation because of that. But I think, like you're saying, he's looking for any excuse to pop himself back into the limelight.
Yeah.
So sure, he's defending his friend, but he did it in the most demonstrative way possible and made headlines.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he really stole the weekend, and he probably. I mean, do you think more people bought the pay-per-view after?
I definitely think so.
Me too.
I think it just brought the card this weekend more into the public consciousness. People were seeing, because every Conor McGregor headline about his antics also included information about the fight this weekend that people wouldn't have been in CNN and Deadline and Hollywood Reporter like it was. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Suddenly you're there and you want to just get involved. You want to see what's going on. And I'm going to break down one of the fights coming up on this weekend's card, coming up on this upcoming weekend's card. And we'll get into that a little bit more at another time. Let's get to some calls, man, because I want to go see this film tonight. This Cock Blockers I'm going to watch.
Or as the previews say, blockers.
You know what they say?
Yeah, because they can't say cock on the commercials.
Too bad they can't say cock.
All right, let's see. Do you have one you want to play first, or should I just
hit that line up?
All right, here we go. Here is Hunter.
All right.
What's up, Theo? Gang, man. This is your boy Hunter down in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, Hunter, man. And that's a lot of people in some areas have names that are activities. Hunter. They had this boy when I was growing up named Clymer Simpson. And Clymer, that's something. Slider. A lot of people in Tennessee and different rural areas will have names that are activities. Jumper. So for some people that's a piece of clothing, but where I'm from, that was a name. Or weather, we've talked about that before. Stormy, rainy, dusty. Those are all names. So sometimes people will have more active names. But Hunter, thank you for calling. What's up, man?
And I had a quick question for you. Me and my buddy, he goes down to MTSU. We like to mix drugs a little bit. And we had mixed some LSD one night and some Coke and some Molly and some other things that... I was just wondering, my buddy had a bad trip on it. We went to a club and...
Hold on. So you mixed, what did he say, Molly, Coke?
LSD,
and some other drugs. Well, look, dude, let me tell you this, man, and you know this, I'm sure, or certainly your heart does and your central nervous system, there aren't that many more drugs. I mean, how many, you throw in any more ingredients, man, you fucking running on detergent. You know what I'm saying? What are you know what I'm saying? You on damn... You might as well fucking do the dishes, dude. You ain't partying anymore. You know what I'm saying? After so many different drugs, you're not doing drugs anymore, dude. You about to fucking get a job, mopping service stations, dude. You about to get a job, you about to get a job working for Tide Pods. So I think, I can't even imagine mixing that many things, man. But you guys were out there. Let's hear more.
Party rave and it got wild, and I enjoyed it. I was pressed against two fat Mexican chicks, rubbing paint all over myself, shirtless, and this is in colder weather back when it was cold. So, I just wondered your thoughts on mixing drugs like that and any crazy stories you had. Thanks, man. Take it easy.
You bet, man. Hunter, thank you for calling, dude. Yeah, mixing drugs. I mean, when I was young, they used to do trolling, tripping and rolling, and that was an easy one, But then one time I remember, I grew up in the bad acid belt. So a lot of bad acid would come through, and then next thing you know, everybody would shave their legs, the next week, men and women. And you're like, well, what the fuck happened? Just something, it would leave that little, it would just shrimp up your genetics. So, you was kind of swirling a little bit, and everybody would do something weird after. Everybody would shave off their eyebrows, I remember one time some bad acid came through and a couple people's dads started wearing eye patches after that. And you knew who had done the acid because you knew, the next week everybody's fucking, out there just pirating, just freelancing. And I remember one time this girl, what was that gal's name, man? Christy. Thick Christy, they called her because she was exactly as advertised. And she had, I mean, you could find a titty anywhere on her. You know, you could fucking, she just felt like about 90 titties, you know, in a tight shirt. And we were at a party, and we had this group we used to do some acid with, and, you know, she took a couple hits of something, and then she got scared. She got locked in a room. You know, she wanted to be in there. And we didn't lock her in, I don't think necessarily, you know. But she stayed in there, and we stayed outside. And people would go in there and pour kind of warm water on her, you know. And she, you know, was it right? Was it wrong? Who knows? I mean, everybody in the whole fucking house was on LSD. So it's not like, you know, we could have thought we were making tea. We could have thought we were making soup. You know, we could have thought we was making human soup. I don't fucking know. But I remember going into a room high on LSD. We're all scared, thinking there's like a bear in there, and it's just Thick Christy in there. And the lights are out, and you can just see her eyes. And because when somebody's on acid, bruh, their eyes are running about 45 watts each. So you just see her in the distance, and we go over there and just pour a little bit of warm water out of a cooking pail, you know, just like a macaroni pail. And I don't know if she was drinking it or just letting it splash on her back or whatever, but that was something that got a little bit weird one time. We had this boy named Joseph at a party one time, and he's like, let's play hide and go seek. And then he started counting and ran off to hide at the same time, and he was on LSD. And never fucking saw that dude again. So, and part of the problem was he had taken on both responsibilities of the game. So if anybody who was thinking, oh, I'll play hide and go seek on acid, seems like fun. But suddenly when Joseph's counting and running to hide, he's fucked himself. So he's, you know, who knows what he counted to, maybe 100. Next thing you know, he gets to 100, but he's hiding somewhere. And maybe that's when he starts looking for himself. And, who knows what happened to him? Could have ended up homeless. Probably ended up, I would guess, honestly, dude, down in Tampa. He could be the mayor now. But thanks for calling, Hunter, man. We used to mix them. You know, I remember just sometimes it got tougher for me to mix them when I got older because I would be doing drugs by myself. And, you know, you got to have that sidekick. You got to have that shotgun. You know, you got to have somebody to hold your ass cheeks open and make sure, that you're keeping your Panama Canal clean. You got to have a sidekick. Let's take another call.
All right, this is from Joe. He's got an interesting quandary.
What up, Theo? This is Joe from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh,
dude.
Like
James Bond would say it, and I apologize, but I'm calling because I need some help from you or maybe some other caller out there that has some advice for me. So this girl I know, she's 17 and she's trying to persuade me with her dark arts. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that cat.
She's been real persistent with it. She's trying to get that Italian sausage from me. You know what I'm saying?
If you're Italian,
anyways, I'm 23. So, you know, that's against the law pretty much. And, you know, I get weird even like texting this girl back sometimes. You know, it's just weird. You know, it's all weird. And should I wait? But she wants me to wait. Should I wait till she's 18? Or should I just block her? I don't know what to do. You know, seems kind of strange to me. I want to know what you would do or what one of the other callers would do.
And that's a good question, man. That's a good question, and we'll put that out to the callers. I mean, I'll tell you this. If you're James Franco, you could make movies and be a movie star. And, you know, I know they had a story came out a while back about him, you know, running at some 17-year-old. And so, you know, if you move to Hollywood, you'll probably be okay. You could probably have a decent career. You know, this really is sex offender country out here. But where you are, I mean, it's risky. I mean, here's one thing I didn't hear you say that you love this girl. You know, I didn't hear you say you're in love with her. I feel that temptation, though. And the temptation's natural. You know, that's like the sun and the moon looking for each other. People always think if the sun and the moon found each other that they would, you know, the earth would blow up or something. Dude, no. They would fuck. That's what would happen. And that's all that's going on out there. is just the solar system is just a bunch of big balls trying to fuck each other, and gravity's keeping them away from each other. But you didn't say you're in love with this girl, so the rules is the rules. You could try to get some strange look, man. When I was 20 years old in college, I dated a girl that was 17. She was in high school, and we were in love, and her parents were okay with it, and I was okay with it, and I wasn't a good boyfriend probably, because I was a shady college kid, but I was just probably like most other boyfriends that were doing, caught up in there. So it's wild, man. It's risky, Nick, what do you think?
I think, first of all, he definitely shouldn't announce that he's thinking about doing it on a national podcast. That was mistake number one. But since he already has done that, I definitely think he should just wait it out. Wait out the temptation, brother. It's someplace less than a year. Could be a month. Could be just a couple months. I think you can do it, man.
Yeah, maybe make a little fun time clock on your phone or something. Get one of those countdown apps. And title it, Cheryl or whatever the lady's name is. And just, she'll be 17. And because look, that's one thing that's tough out there these days. The temptation, the accessibility. You would think that a lot of these social media apps wouldn't have the ability for people of different ages really to interact. It could be super inappropriate. I get it. It's natural. And look, man, when I was in high school, all the hot girls that were 18 or seniors, they all dated guys in college. A lot of that's natural. Where it comes in, you getting into 23, she's 17, you're looking at 6 years. What do you think, Nick?
I liked your idea of the countdown clock. Maybe you could even have like some type of like nativity calendar. As you count down the days for Christmas, he could have a little calendar with like chocolates in it, and every day he just eats a chocolate and he's one step closer. That's
good. Get a little gum, put a little gum, get one of those, the calendars like they had on Bad Santa, like that little chubby boy. And he got them candies every time he get closer. Hot a chocolate, Put a fucking couple of milk duds in a hole in your wall and reach for one of them bitches every day you make it. Treat yourself. Treat yourself and honor this lady. And if you're not willing to do all that, then at least it's not love. You're just trying to get some strange. Dude, I would just look the other way. And I would block her because you're going to be tempted. Look, man, you fuck with temptation. Temptation's a barbershop. And if you hang out in a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut, dude. And I don't want your next call to be coming from jail, or unless you want to go meet her parent. Look, you're going to have to put in a lot of work. If you don't care that much, man, I would maybe just let it rest. I just think that's the safest thing. Because a lot of these ladies out there, they just run, and their parents could be looking for a lawsuit. Next thing you know, you paying for their Honda Civic and all of this shit. So anything could happen, man. But if anybody else has a response to that, you can hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. And we will we'll offer up some suggestions. What else we got?
Let's see. We have a call from Kristen. She has a funny babysitting story.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Kristen. I'm just calling with adventures in babysitting.
Okay. Thank you for calling, Kristen. I appreciate it. Onward.
High school, I worked with this family for like a few years, and they have 3 kids. And the middle little girl, she's probably between age 3 or 4, one day came and sat on my lap, and she buttered like most kids do. Mm-hmm. Just gave me a hug and a kiss, but then point blank asked me, "Why are you brown?" And mind you, I'm black. So it kind of caught me by surprise, but I just ended up telling her, like, hey, I look like my family, and my mom and dad are, of the shades of brown, and so I look kind of like them. And that didn't really seem to satisfy her. She actually just asked me, well, I don't understand why you don't look like us. I want you to look like me and my family. Why don't you look like us? Mm-hmm. So then I told her that, God made everyone different. He, likes to use all the different colors of the rainbow, mix it up a little bit. That also didn't satisfy her, so I finally ended up just telling her it's because I drank a lot of chocolate milk when I was little. And that seemed to work because she stopped asking after that. But a couple weeks afterwards, she went to school or something, and she said, I made new friends. One of them's name is Daniel, and he drank a lot of chocolate milk. And so that just meant he was dark.
That's
so
little.
I was kind of wondering, at what age did you start to notice the difference of cultures or different people, noticing that people look different than you?
That's a great question. I appreciate that call. You know, I'll tell you this. I remember when I went to South Africa, actually, when I was in college. I went as a student. And I got there, and it was predominantly black. And I had never seen so many black people at one time, or African American. These people actually African people, but people of darker skin, you know. And here was a wild thought that I remember went into my head. I was like, wow, if I ever go to heaven, most of the people in heaven will be different ethnicities. And I'd never thought that. I hadn't not wanted to think it. There was just this basic thought in my head that heaven, you know, I just went to church. Most of the people in my church were white. So when I thought of heaven, I thought of basically the people in my church living in a cloud or living in I just thought of it as probably not super diverse. And not like certain people weren't allowed, or black people weren't allowed, or Asian people weren't allowed. There wasn't enough connotation in my history, in my existence, in my life, for me to see that it could be real. And so I remember when I went to South Africa, just being like, I was like, wow, man, in heaven, things will be extremely diverse. And if anything, white people will be the minority. And that was kind of one of the first times, I think, not that I realized that people had different colors of skin, because, you know, I grew up from the jump. I was on like school bus with the black kids, and, you know, we were all living in the poor part of town. So, you know, I used to be in this group called NFL when I was in middle school, and it stood for Niggas for Life. You know, I didn't name the group, but I was the only white guy in it. And that was just the kids I ran with, you know, and it was probably the kids I felt most comfortable with. And the truth is, I've found a lot of white people, like, black culture is extremely fascinating. You know, there's a lot of amazing music comes out of black culture, a lot of amazing art, a lot of amazing, these kids were the best athletes. These kids were, you know, it was almost like they were these jewels sometimes in some ways that other people didn't know about, you know, that like, I was like, well, why doesn't, you know, it didn't seem right that they didn't have more because they had so many talents. But so I guess I didn't notice it as much because it was more my everyday existence growing up. But that was a moment that I had when I was like, wow, a lot of the world, because I went straight from America to South Africa. So I hadn't traveled a bunch of places. I'd probably only been in about 4 states before that, and they were all in the South. And I just had never seen a place where the predomination of the population was different than white. And so it just shook me. I was like, man, in an afterlife, it will be really diverse. And that started to give me a wider view of the world, I think, of race anyhow, for sure. But look, man, some places I find these days, that chocolate milk thing is funny. I'm trying to think what I thought. Did you have any thoughts like that, Nick, do you think?
Just in a similar fashion, I definitely thought chocolate milk only came from brown cows. So
yeah, I
feel like that logic is pretty solid, to be honest.
Yeah, from a kid, I think that is solid. You know, that like, yeah, chocolate milk came from brown cows. That makes sense. I thought that, you know, certain maybe, I thought that all cows I remember could make steaks. And I guess some of them can't.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I'm from dairy country.
I thought all cows could make milk.
Oh.
And it's only, you know, female cows. And obviously there's the old joke, you know, you don't want to drink the milk from the male cows, but I thought that all cows can make milk. And can all cows make meat?
Yes.
They can?
Yes. A lot of dairy cows aren't necessarily used as beef cattle, but you definitely could. Mm-hmm.
And my thing, I remember one time thinking our fish, I asked a waiter one time if the fish was male or female. I got a bit of mahi, and he didn't know. And I don't think anybody fucking knows. So if you want to find a gender-neutral species where shit's working out for them, that's probably fish. But I appreciate that call, man. I think we got some stuff. People can hit the hotline, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Call in, leave some messages.
I think we got some stuff. Also, we had a call that came in for this past weekend for the contest. Every month, if you have something that happened to you this weekend, it was awesome or it wasn't awesome, hit the hotline, leave us a voicemail, 985-664-9503, so we can make you guys a part of the experience. And just let us know if your weekend was good or bad. Just give it to us. I'll try to make it, 60 seconds or less. And each month, we got one of these correctional blue T-shirts that we're going to give out, say, this past weekend. We'll send you one. And they had a gentleman that won one last month, and we still haven't sent it to him. But it's just been a wild time. But I want to thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to go out on Spencer Jacob Grau. We may have another episode this week. We're going to try to get some guests. I'm going to be shooting a television pilot down in Louisiana, back in my hometown. So I'm really excited about that and just feeling pretty grateful for the opportunity. But yeah, I hope you guys are good, man. I hope everybody's doing okay. And if you're not, if you need something, hit the hotline. Let us know. If there's a way that we could help out or do some outreach or something, we'll try. We're slowly starting to put a little team together here, and it's exciting, and it feels good. You got any closing thoughts, Nick?
Just onward.
Onward, man. I like it. That sounds good, man. We'll see you guys very soon. That's that Spencer Jacob Grau.
Celebrate living.
Be good to yourselves, guys. You probably deserve it. You know that, man. Love you. And thank you so much, man.
You know that soon we're gonna die.
I gotta go see this cock blockers.
Let's have some fun while we all die. Celebrate dark days. Celebrate.